Okay. Hey, Joe.
Hey. All right. 1,
All right, we're live.
3, 4. So
I think
I'm
it's
just
still
trying
Manny.
to help Manny.
Yeah, it's
I'm
still
trying to
Manny.
help him right now. All right.
Manny.
Is somebody working with Manny or?
Pat is.
Okay. Give it a
Dial
minute
up
or two.
dial up takes so long.
Dial up.
Chrissy, I have to give you a call about that wedding that I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
Did they ever get back to you?
They did.
Okay. All right, we'll talk
The
about
first at 6:30.
it. Okay. Being Adam.
Evening.
Pat, any update on Manny?
I'm working on it.
All right, couple more minutes and then we're going to get started whether he's on or not.
He can't get on. He's done.
Well, you can always call in.
Yeah, have him call in.
Can he sign in as an attendee and I can switch him over?
He's having a lot of difficulty.
Tell Manny to hop in his car, come to my house. I'm like 2 minutes from him.
Are you going to have him try and just call in, Pat, or?
No, he's going to go over to John.
He really is?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He's got to stop for snacks, though, John.
Yes, I need snacks.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll get started and he'll have to join late. So I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:33. Please join me in the flag salute.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So if everybody could join me in taking a moment of silence to remember the services and sacrifice of the armed service members who protect our nation and the first responders who protect our neighborhoods. I'd also like to recognize the passing of General Raymond Odierno at 67 years old on October 8th. General Odierno grew up in Rockaway. He graduated from Morris Hills in 1972 and played an integral role in them winning the state championship in football in 1971. He was a West Point graduate, and his military career was, I mean, there'd be so much to go over and cover, but probably the highlight was that he was the 38th Army Chief of Staff. And he's greatly missed by the township. And my son actually had the honor of meeting him his senior year And he was just, his personality was as big as he was. He was just had a stature and a presence about him, from what I understand. I do know, I read on some Moores Hills alumni site that on the 16th, Saturday the 16th, there's going to be an informal gathering up at Gifford Field to honor him at 1 o'clock, I believe. So if anybody's interested, I believe you could probably go out on the Moores Hills alumni site. So I'd like to recognize that. I'd also like to recognize, and I know Mr. Friedlander was going to make reference to it, but since he's not on yet, for those you know, Rob and Anthony over at Anthony's Pizzeria, their father, Pasquale, passed away a couple of weeks ago. And I think, you know, Manny can talk later in his report, but he had a lot to community that Anthony's Pizzeria has done so many things to support us for free and to support the employees. And they're just, you know, it's a staple in Rockaway. It's been here forever. And I think, you know, it's a great loss. He's a great loss to our community, and my heart goes out to Rob and his brother, and I hope they're doing okay. Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Oh,
Yeah.
real quick. Also, it's with great sadness that Jill Cadman had passed away on Sunday, October 10th, after a battle with cancer at the age of 58. Beloved wife of Richard Cadman, mother of Luke, sister of Mark and Kenneth Tepper, aunt to Drew, Evan, Haley, Russell, Jordan, great aunt to Solomon, Ray, and Isaac. I knew Jill for a brief time. She runs the one Facebook page in town, Rockaway Unites. And we had a couple of informal meetings with her, trying to put together a committee. And I know myself and Adam and Joe and Mike and a few others have talked to her. So I just wanted to bring reference to Jill's passing.
Thank you. So if
Prayers
everybody,
to her family, John.
if anybody, everybody can join me in a moment of silence. Okay, clerk, if you could take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Here.
Councilmember Quinn,
Here.
Councilmember Friedlander, Councilmember Kritz,
Here.
Councilmember Salberg,
Here.
Councilmember Brooks,
Here.
Councilmember Noon,
Here.
Vice President Sackett, President Jackson,
Here. We have a quorum. Please be advised that all electronic remote meetings of the Township Council held on WebEx are recorded. All members of the public will be provided the opportunity to speak. Please be further advised that during any public hearing or open to public sections of the meeting, the Township Clerk will send an unmute request to each member of the public and ask if they wish to speak. Once the Township Clerk has sent the unmute request, if you are attending the meeting by telephone, you will be prompted to press *6 to unmute yourself. And if you're attending the meeting using your computer, you will receive a pop-up requesting that you unmute yourself. As per Rockaway Township Code 2-5.14, any person desiring to address the council shall first seek recognition by the presiding officer, and upon recognition by the chair, the person shall give their name and address for the record. Unless further time is granted, by the council, they shall limit their statement to 5 minutes. Statements shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any member thereof. A councilman shall not direct any questions to a speaker addressing the council except through the presiding officer. In addition to speaking on the record during council meetings, members of the public may submit their questions and comments to the council by emailing questions@rockawaytownship.org by the end of the open to the public session. This meeting was advertised in the Daily Record and the Star Ledger on October 5th, 2021, the official newspapers for the Township of Rockaway. Notice was posted on the official bulletin boards of Rockaway Township. Our first agenda item is approval of the September 14th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Quinn and Mr. Sackett. Clerk, you could take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
No.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander. Oh, sorry. Vice President Sackett, when he gets to your house, could you let me know when he's officially in the meeting?
I definitely will.
Thank you. Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett, President Jackson.
Yes, that's 7 yeses and 1 no. The minutes are approved. Next is ordinances to adopt. We have O21-31, an ordinance to amend, revise, and supplement Chapter 5 of the Rockaway Township Licensing Ordinance to add a new section, Section 5-10, entitled Recreational Cannabis Licenses. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is that Mr. Salberg or Mr. Kritz?
Fritz.
Mr. Kritz. Okay, so Mr. Quinn and Mr. Kritz. Clerk, if you go, Ms. Seeger, did we get any questions yet?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Clipperton, if you can go through.
And just for the benefit of the public, just a reminder, if you could please state your name and address before you speak, and this is specifically in reference to Ordinance O21-31. Andre Domino,
It's still muted. Andre, you're
Domino?
muted.
Just for clarification, is this specifically on the ordinance that was just introduced?
Correct.
Okay, so no, I did not want to speak on that.
Okay, thank you.
Jim Waters, Jim Waters,
You're unmuted, Jim.
No comment, thank you.
Lil's on here like 5 times.
Lily Sweet,
Comment, but your audio is terrible.
Lisa Salberg, Lisa Salberg, Michael Lardy, Michael Lardy, Pat Degnan,
Ms. Degnan, you're unmuted.
Manny is here. Look over at Wade.
Yeah. What a night.
Patrick,
They mentioned Pasquale, but they said you could talk about it.
Patrick,
Patrick?
you're unmuted. Oh, no, you're not.
Number? We're on 7. And that's
I have Piera Acumano,
it's my pen. Keep it in the middle.
Jonathan, you guys are not muted. There we go.
Piera,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, it appears to stay muted when you say it's unmuted.
What happens is that I need to send you an unmute request. You need to accept it before you speak.
Okay, I am not planning to speak. I am just in the audience.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Royak? Susan, you're unmuted.
Hello?
That didn't sound like Susan.
Did you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry, Susan Roy, 252 Perry Street. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Tony? Tony, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me
Hello?
now?
Yes.
Okay, I have no comments at this time.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yep. Any council discussion?
I have one thing, but again, I would go last if any other
Go
council.
ahead,
member
Mr.
has
Kelly, you're recognized.
With regard to this ordinance, and I know it's not in this particular ordinance that we're adding for fees in dealing with the division. But a while back, we had voted on the cannabis, and it was dealing with the locations and the distances from other areas such as schools, homes of worship, and other events that may have children and others involved in those locations. Is there any way possible that us as a council can move a little bit to maybe extend those distances further away from schools and children relating to the recreational cannabis? Just make it not so much of a close proximity to those important people regarding these fees. Like I said, I don't have too much of a problem, but I have a problem with the distances, and approving anything following that ordinance is very difficult for me, knowing that children can be in close proximity of this recreational use.
Anybody else have any
Council
questions or
President.
comments?
Council President, what are your thoughts?
Clerk, you could take the roll call.
No thoughts on the cannabis and distance with the children, Council President?
Clerk, you could take the roll call. Mr. Kelly, you're out of order. Go
Not
ahead.
out of order. I'm asking you a question. I
Councilmember
didn't give up
Kelly?
the floor.
Say it again. He was busy talking.
I wasn't busy
Councilmember Kelly?
talking. Mrs. Peterson muted me. Mrs. Clipperton, I wasn't done with the floor.
You're no longer recognized. Clerk, you could take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly?
Again, I wasn't finished with what I was asking. I had my minutes, but I will vote no.
Councilmember Quinn?
I will vote yes.
Councilmember Friedlander? If you voted, I didn't hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kritz?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
No.
Councilmember Noon?
Yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, that's 7 yeses, 2 nos. The ordinance is adopted. Next, we would have open to the public.
Joe, can I have the floor real quick before we start open to the public?
Sure, you're recognized, Mr. Sackett.
Thank you, thank you. Just want a brief statement. Italian Americans look at Columbus Day as many African Americans look at Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Let's celebrate Italian American culture with a flag raising. Let's raise the LGBTQ plus flag. Let's celebrate all holidays. Let's study many issues with community input. Me pulling a resolution wasn't meant to marginalize Italian Americans. Thank you.
Racist.
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order.
You hate Italians.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order. All right, Miss Seeger, do you have any emails yet?
No, Council President.
Okay. Clerk, you can go through.
The clerk has an email.
Ms. Clipperton, you can go through the public.
Ms. Clipperton, you have an email.
Well, the instructions were to send it to that link or to Ms. Seeger. It's very clear. It's red in the beginning.
Have an email.
So, Ms. Clipperton, please go through the open to the public.
Andre Domino?
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
You are. Please, if you're going to comment, if you could just say your name and address, that'd be great.
Certainly, President Jackson. My name is Andre Domino. I live at 20 Domino Court in Woodcliff Lake, New Jersey. Obviously not a Rockaway Township address, but I just feel like you to know that I was a Rockaway Township taxpayer because I owned a manufacturing company over on Green Pond Road. We sold that company, but I have a connection with Rockaway, but that's not why I'm here tonight. I realize your rules don't allow directly questioning someone on the council, but I did want to thank President Jackson for recognizing General Oderno, of course, a great Rockaway resident, a great American, and also a great Italian American. So I appreciate that, President Jackson. Thank you very much. I had the opportunity of meeting with him at one point too as well, so it was a great honor. But the reason I'm speaking with you tonight is related to the resolution that was pulled for the consent agenda for the previous meeting regarding the recognition of all holidays on the town council calendar. And obviously with specificity, what I'm speaking about is Columbus Day. As you may be aware, the schools in Rockaway have been debating that and had a vote, and they actually maintain keeping Columbus Day off of the calendar, which we've objected to. I'm a officer of the Italian American One Voice Coalition. We're a 501c3 educational foundation, and we work to preserve Italian American heritage and the legacy of Christopher Columbus, who's an iconic symbol to Italian Americans and specifically represents the apology and atonement for the terrible discrimination and denigration that Italian Americans suffered in the late 1890s and early 1900s. The first Columbus Day that was celebrated in 1892, Benjamin Harrison declared that in order to apologize for the single largest lynching of at the time, which was of 11 Italian Americans in New Orleans. So that's why for all of our heritage and our ancestors, Columbus Day and Christopher Columbus is an iconic and important symbol. And therefore we look to have that preserved, Columbus Day, as the day for Italian Americans. And it's interesting that today is actually October 12th, which is the actual anniversary of his arrival in this part of the world. So I would ask that I would ask the mayor and council, all the council members, to preserve that holiday in the township of Rockaway. It is very important. I don't know why the consent agenda was pulled. I'm really hoping that it was not because of an objection to Columbus Day. And therefore, I would ask for an affirmative vote to maintain Columbus Day on the Township Council. You may know that we already have filed a federal litigation with West Orange, New Jersey, because of their removal of the Columbus statue, and they're not honoring Columbus Day because the Italian Americans are a recognized group under the 14th Amendment, and substituting one group over another is a direct definition of discrimination. And that's why we filed a landmark federal suit against West Orange. And we're just hoping that those kinds of things don't have to happen in other towns. So I just appreciate the opportunity to address the council and the mayor, and I just would hope that you would affirmatively vote to maintain Columbus Day in Rockaway Township. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council President?
No, you cannot be recognized.
Yes, I can.
No, you cannot, Mr. Kelly.
In a motion, you cannot.
We're in the middle of open to the public, Mr. Kelly. Go ahead, Mr. Kelly, make your motion.
So that we continue to keep Columbus Day as part of our calendar in Rockaway Township. I'm looking for a second.
What is your motion?
My motion is to continue to recognize Columbus Day in the Rockaway Township calendar.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Clerk, please do the roll.
Can I record the motion, please?
Sure. I didn't think it was that difficult.
Runs the meeting.
Chrissy, when you're ready, you can do the roll call. Take your time.
Thank you. Councilmember Kelly.
Are you ready?
Don't be facetious, Mr. Kelly.
I'm not. I'm just making sure she's ready.
She called your name. That means she's ready.
It doesn't mean she's ready.
I'm taking the roll call, Mr. Kelly.
Do you want me to say yes again? Thank you.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
Fake.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's nine
Your
yeses.
suit. Be
You're
quiet
fake.
over there.
That's 9 yeses. The motion carries. Please go on to the next member of the public, Mr. Waters, I believe.
Yeah, this is Jim Waters, 48 Seneca Avenue. I have to say I was glad to see Councilman Brooks show back up on the screen here, and given that we're in the Halloween season, that I was getting a little bit concerned for him. I wanted to jump up and down and scream, "Doug, they're in the back seat." Sorry, that's my input there.
Okay.
We're going to exfil from here in 30 to 40 minutes. We're going to go directly to the airport and get a plane. If that doesn't work, we're going to go to the port and steal a fucking boat. If any one of you gets separated from the group at any time, memorize this.
Who was that, Mrs. Clipperton?
Yeah, I couldn't, it looked like everybody was muted, so I'm trying to figure out who that was.
I think Mrs. Clipperton knows.
Go ahead, who's next? You're muted, Miss Clipperton.
Lily?
What's up, Miss Clipperton?
What was that, Council President? I'm sorry. you cut
Who's
out.
next? Lil? Okay.
Lil. Lily, you're unmuted.
Didn't hear you.
Lil, you're unmuted. Do you have anything you want to say?
All I know is you're all muffled. You cannot hear what you're saying. I don't even, I just heard what you, it's just
Okay.
awful.
Okay. Go ahead to the next person.
Lisa Salberg.
Hi, Lisa Salberg, 10 Bergen Hill. Couple of comments tonight. Want to also recognize that October 9th was Leif Erikson Day, and there is an important Norwegian who has contributed to the history of this country as well. So I think all those who helped us find our new home should be recognized, and those who are already here should be recognized. That aside, I wanted to remind everybody that October is Sudden Cardiac Arrest Awareness Month, and in the United States every year, nearly 700,000 people die from sudden cardiac arrest. Many of the reasons for sudden cardiac arrest have genetic basis, so I encourage you all to take a close look at your family health heart history and identify if there is anybody who has a history of atrial fibrillation, non-sustained ventricular tachycardia, syncope, heart murmurs, or any cardiac symptom, and to please get them checked up with a cardiologist so that you can protect yourselves and your family from something as catastrophic as cardiac arrest. And that's all I have to say today. Thank you so much and have a great day.
You too.
Pat Degnan.
Pat Degnan, 88 Valley View Drive. I'd just like to remind all the council members of an invitation that they received to the White Meadow Lake Clubhouse for Candidates Night on October the 18th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. I haven't heard back from a lot of you, and I'm hoping you all can make it. Thank you.
I never received a notice.
Well, you're
I
not
don't think
running
I've
for office.
received that either.
To anybody that's a council member.
Patrick,
No comment, thank you.
Kiara,
Yes, I have not signed up to speak. I am just in the audience. Thank you.
Susan Royak,
Yes. Can you hear me?
yes.
Good. Susan Roy, 252 Perry Street. Yeah, I also would like I'm just in the audience. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Tony, you're unmuted.
Yes. My name is Tony Santorelli, 36 Partridge Run, Montvale, New Jersey. I'm a member of One Voice, a director of that organization. I think Andre said it best. And maybe you can just answer me. Does this vote that you just took, which was unanimous, mean that Columbus Day will be on the calendar for the Rockaway school system?
Correct. No, this is for the township.
For the township, okay. Okay, so we'll be on the calendar, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
This year too.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. You know, we have one day a year to celebrate our heritage, and thank you for preserving it, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That's it for me.
Did Mr. Laurie get a chance? I might have missed that.
I can send another request.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, before I couldn't hear my name. Like Lil said, the audio is terrible. And on the website, it says the council meeting location is at the municipal building. That's why I logged in late. Jonathan did tell me the other day you were online, but when I saw on the website that it was at the municipal building, I drove over there. I think it's absolutely ridiculous at this point in time that we're still on these computers. It's totally unfair to the public. It's hard to get on. It's hard to hear. People are cut off where they can't speak and get their message out on the council and in the public. I think it's totally uncalled for. I was told it's the health department that won't allow it. I mean, do it in a school gymnasium. Request a White Meadow Lake clubhouse if you need more space. I mean, how many participants are on tonight? 13, I think I saw before. You could fit 13 people in that room. This is a total disservice to the taxpayers. Now I'll go into what I've gathered over time, because these meetings are almost impossible to attend. Also starting at 6:30 when people are coming home from work and eating dinner. But the township recycling truck comes down my block in one direction and picks up. When the truck is in the street, nobody can go past it. These streets in White Meadow Lake are not wide. They go down and pick up from one side, and they come back later on and pick up from the other side. I can understand doing that on Route 46 or Mount Hope Avenue, but on all these small blocks in White Meadow Lake and most of Rockaway Township, they're just wasting miles in gas and time. That should be looked into. Mount Hope Road coming from Tilcon down to Route 80, there's piles of rocks that fall off those trucks on a daily basis. If you come out of the mall or come off of Route 80 or come down by Monty's new landscaping place, there's stones all over the road on a consistent basis. Something should be overseen from them, and they should be made to clean the street. Stop lines. There's many stop signs that do not have stop lines on the street, and cars cut the corners where they're making a left turn into the oncoming lane because they don't really know where the middle of the street is. I mean, they should, but they don't. There's also, I know, one very bad corner is Algonquin and North Brookside Drive. The stop sign is probably 15 feet from the corner, and then people come into the intersection until they see a car to decide to stop. Weekly, there's almost an accident there where somebody has to swerve around somebody. Another blind spot issue is Old Middletown and West Lakeshore Drive. I brought this up in the past, and I think the bush was trimmed a little bit. But if you stop at that stop sign on West Lakeshore Drive to make a left turn onto Old Middletown, you cannot see up the hill. And the time you creep out to get past the bushes that are on that person's property, you have cars coming down at you because they come over the crest of the hill, so you don't have much time to see it, and you can't see it when you're at the stop sign. On a more positive note, I'd like to thank the township attorney and administration for working with White Meadow Lake regarding our fire lane parking and what we need to do to enforce that. And I'd also like to thank the police department for working with the White Meadow Lake security team to address dangerous drivers and trespassers. And I really hope that the council considers doing what they need to do to have these meetings in person. I mean, it's just no reason for it. Everything is open. This is just totally uncalled for. Thank you all.
Thank you. Mrs. Seeger, did we get any emails?
No, President Jackson.
The clerk
Was
did.
everybody right, Miss Clipperton?
Received.
That's everyone signed into the meeting.
Okay. Next, we have ordinances to introduce. We have O21-32, an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 2 of the revised ordinances of the Township of Rockaway in order to add new ordinance Section 65, establishing a Title 39 enforcement plan for the regulation of parking, standing, ingress, egress, and the flow of traffic on private property owned by Krupa LLC, identified on the official tax map of Rockaway Township as Block 22103, Lot 6, more commonly known as Marriott Fairfield Inn and Suites and Hotel, 10-14 Green Pond Road, County Road 513. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
So moved.
Mr. Kelly and Mr. Quinn. Can I have a roll call?
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Motion carries. Next is the consent agenda. I've been asked by the administration to pull R21-159 off the agenda. So I'm doing that. So we will not be voting on R21-159. So instead we'll be voting on B, R21-160, C, R21-161, D, R21-162, E, R21-163, R, F, R21-164.
And we have R21-165.
Yeah, my pages are stuck together. I'm getting there. And G, R21-165. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Quinn and Mr. Kelly.
I have well, there's not a motion we need. I just wanted to pull two of them. I'm sorry, three. Maybe not pull three. But R21-160 and R21-161, and then R21-164. In our packet, there wasn't the business entity disclosure cert. Do we have that for R21-164? Usually they're included in the past on resolutions like this.
I'm just getting there, Joe.
Yep. So did you have something you want to discuss about 160 and 161, Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, you know what? On our September 14th meeting of 21, we
Council
voted
President,
Yes.
they should really be removed from the consent agenda for discussion.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, would you like to would you like to remove them from the consent agenda?
I do, and like, yeah, just remove them to talk about them, and we can vote on the consent agenda in its entirely.
So did you want to remove 164 also, Mr. Kelly?
You know what? If they can just answer the quick question, then we don't have to remove it.
Okay.
I can answer it. these are just extending. We already did them in the beginning of the year. We're just changing the not to exceed. So you got it all in the beginning of the year when you approved them the first time.
My question, Mrs. Seeger, did you send it with this packet?
Doesn't have to be.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, so clerk, let's vote on R21-162, R21-163, R21-164, and R21-165.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes to all and no on R21-164 because I didn't get the business entities disclosure cert with this resolution.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes to all.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes to all.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes to all.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes to all.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes to all.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, all the consent agenda items carry. So Mr. Kelly, you want to talk about R160 and R161?
Yeah, you know what? And I didn't know if it was an error that might have taken place at the September 14th meeting, but R21-160, I believe in R21-147 on the 14th of September, isn't it the same resolution? We already voted on this, and I didn't know if there was a requirement to do it twice, if there was an error that had taken place with the vote on the R21-147. And the same thing goes with C, R21-161. We voted on resolution R21-145 unanimously, which is the same thing. It was a refund for 2021 and 2022. So is there a reason why we're doing this over again?
Looks like the amounts are different.
So should we rescind R21-147 and R21-145 and replace them with R21-160 and R21-161 if there's an incorrect amount?
This is only for our 2021, so she's correcting that amount. And our 21, it was two. John, what do you think?
But R21-147 was for both years, 21 and 22. I mean, if they're different amounts, how can we have two resolutions having different amounts for the same year? Do any of you guys read this material before we vote?
Council President, can I speak?
Yep.
Just a reminder, when you're going through your packets, and I said this.
I don't have to email. My clerk doesn't answer me.
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized right now. The mayor is.
So I am not emailing.
Mr. Kelly, this is not about you. It's not about you. Please let me talk. Whenever you get your package, just a reminder, if you find something or you believe that there's something in error, it's very difficult for the administration. There's a large amount of work that travels through Rockaway Township.
Not on this one.
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order.
I have the.
Can you mute
Mr. Kelly? I
please?
recognize the
Can
mayor.
somebody mute him? I'm trying to speak. The guy is just eternally rude.
Mr. Kelly,
He never.
please stop
Please
speaking.
mute him. Thank you. Whenever you get your packets, there's a large volume of work that goes through the administration, and obviously errors are made in any organization. But when someone finds an error, please, or if you believe that there's an error, please bring it to our attention prior to the meeting. If you discover it, or if you believe there's an error, it's very difficult for myself or for Pat, or we don't always have all of our department heads here that may have prepared a certain section of this, because obviously each area has a department head, whether it be DPW, health, finance. Ms. Seeger and myself rely on our experts to lend their expertise and to have input into these meetings and to the areas that affect them. So if they're not here, Ms. Seeger may not be able to answer something adequately. And it doesn't behoove the council to ask questions on the fly that we can't answer. It's not good for the public. It's not just, it slows the meetings down. So if you do discover something that you believe is an error, and it may not be, it's just that Pat or myself can't answer that. We don't have the facts and figures. Try to come to us prior to the meeting so we could get you an answer and do this properly. Thank you.
Yeah, and honestly, I looked
On the
through
line,
this
so you can
backup,
answer.
and I didn't think of comparing it to last meeting. I mean, it looked,
course
everything
not.
looked in order. So I don't know, Mr. Gachafano, do you have any thoughts, or?
Why don't we ask Ms. Palmieri?
Can
I'm
I,
asking Mr. Gachafano.
can I
Thank you.
just,
Our CFO, you're not going
Mr.
to ask.
Gachafano, can you please be quiet, Mr. Kelly? You're not recognized. Go ahead, Mr. Gachafano.
Mr.
Thank,
Yachafano,
Go ahead, Mr. Gachafano.
thank you, thank you, Council President. What occurs to me is it's unfortunate we don't have a copy of the prior ordinance that Mr. Kelly is referring to.
call Corey?
The suggestion
Pat,
would be,
you're not muted.
okay? It
the
sounds like he's
suggestion,
slurring his words.
Go
no,
ahead, Mr.
actually,
Gachafano.
I'm getting an echo back in my earphones.
Yeah,
I'm not
you're
sure what's
echoing a
going
little.
on.
Go ahead, just finish.
Okay. My recommendation would be to pass the resolution as is. If there is in fact a discrepancy, Ms. Clipperding can provide me with a copy of both resolutions, and we can resolve it with the tax collector for the next meeting.
So why would you pass it now then? If you know that there's an
I
error,
guess the
Mr. Yachafano,
assumption would be if there isn't a problem, we can just pass it then it's done.
but that's not doing it right. That's bad business.
That's your opinion.
Well, it's not my opinion.
I'm going by the, listen,
Admitted by our-
our attorney made a recommendation, and now it's up to everybody to vote how they want. So our attorney gave us his opinion, and that's what we pay them to do. So they gave us their opinion, and now it's up to everybody to vote how they would like. So,
Mr.
Well,
Jackson, excuse
yeah.
me for a second.
yes,
I just talked to Corey. The reason they are is because it's third quarter, so every quarter gets released. So this has to do with third quarter release.
gotcha.
That's why
So
they're the
is it
same.
correct?
She's saying it's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, so clerk, can you take the roll call on R21-160 and R21-161?
Can we vote on them separately?
Sure. So R21-160.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes, for the veteran.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett, President Jackson,
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Motion carries. Next would be R21-161.
Make a motion.
Second.
Ms. Clipper, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly, Councilmember Kelly,
I said yes for the veteran. Mrs. Peterson keeps muting me.
Peterson's not even on the call.
Well, whoever's muting me, usually it's her, Mr. Jackson. So someone's
Yeah.
having a
Councilmember
field
Quinn,
day.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes, definitely.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Motion carries. Next, we have council appointments. We have 2 firefighters. We have Bagdasher Sarkeesian and Corin Ambrosio.
Motion.
So moved.
Motion. I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Motion, I said.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Kelly and Mr. Quinn.
Mr. Jackson, who is the one muting us anyways?
Mr. Kelly, I don't know. I could see Miss Peterson's not on the phone, so it's whatever.
Then
Go ahead, Miss.
a member has to talk.
Clipperton. You can take the
To
roll
make a
call.
motion. You're being muted on by an individual.
Go ahead. You can take the roll call, Miss Clipperton.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes, and welcome aboard.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon, Vice President Sackett, President
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Congratulations to both of the appointments. Next, we have old business, new business, and reports. Just want to refresh everybody's memory. In February, I sent out a memo as it relates to a lot of things, but one of the things that it covered was the topics for old business, new business, and council reports, which we combined at this point. So
You can't make that
just want to
decision.
clarify and make sure everybody understands the definitions. So old business is defined as prior official incomplete business of the council and acting on ordinances, resolutions, and motions. New business is defined as matters that were on the current agenda or matters that are likely to be addressed in an upcoming meeting. Again, this category shall include official business directly related to the council's legislative and/or spending functions. And last is council reports is defined as council members relating publicly what they have been doing as a member of the council in addition to their attendance at council meetings, i.e. participation in council committees, participation in outside activities related to their office, etc. So I will be, making sure that we are all following those guidelines because that's what we should be talking about in our business, new business, and council reports. So
Your
with that
definition's not.
said, I'll go to Mr. Salberg. Mr. Kelly, you're out of order again. Go ahead, Mr. Salberg.
All right, thank you. No old business or new business. Nothing directly pertaining to the township from our commissioners / freeholders. Of course, since the picnic, nothing new specific on our senior services. Regarding reports, it was an opportunity to help support the Birchwood Fire Company 4, as well as the accompanying food drive next to Birchwood. It was nice to see few of the council people and of course the mayor showing up to really support them. They're a great group. I hope that everything went well for them. Seemed like there was a good crowd of people coming in and out. So it was good to support my my old town there in Birchwood. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Council President. No old business and no new business in terms of just a report. We did not have any vehicle meeting this month, but Councilman Sackett and Councilman Quinn and I did have some discussion with the mayor in regards to Peterson, and we're looking forward to that bid coming back and reviewing that, as well as looking forward to the few events that we have coming up at both Peterson and I believe at Parks Lake, and probably the mayor will discuss more about that in his report. So I am done.
Thank you. Ms. Noon.
Yes, I just wanted to, no old business, no new business. And as far as reports go, I just wanted to, the school board meeting, the next school board meeting is October 27th. And as of today, I understand the new superintendent started. His name is Bruce Watson. And from what I understand, he was in Fair Lawn for 15 years. So welcome to him. Just not to repeat what Adam said about the Birchwood firefighters when they had their open house. I attended that, as well as the food drive next door at Birchwood School, and that was fun. The only other thing I wanted to really mention was since July, I've been working on a blood drive. I don't know, most of you may know or may not know, Nancy Hellborg, who is the president of the Board of Education, has cancer. She's been a lifelong blood donor. So I did reach out to our health department, and Peter put me in touch with Kristen, and we've been working on this blood drive since July. So that's coming together. It's going to be November 16th, Tuesday, November 16th. It's going to start at 1 p.m. More information will come. The flyer will go out hopefully by the end of the week. So it'll be Tuesday, November 16th. It'll start at 1 o'clock. It's with a company called Vitalent, and we're going to put out a flyer, and you can log on and make an appointment to donate blood, and I hope you all do so. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Just a couple of things. Just a reminder, Council President, you do set aside 2 hours for all of us council members to speak during this portion. So in case I run over the 15 minutes, I would just ask an extension since it's been a meeting.
You actually only have 10 minutes. You actually only have 10 minutes tonight, so use your time wisely.
I'll use the 15 and you make the call.
Use the 10 minutes. Tonight. Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
But my reports is on the 25th Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. They had a Harvest Festival at the church, and they were raising money for battered women and some other organizations that were there. It was well attended. It was a car show. They did raise thousands of dollars. Mr. Matarazzo and Mr. Lefkin, Pastor Jack DiMatteo, they did a phenomenal job, as well as all the other volunteers. We also had the fire department's inspections coming up this Saturday on the 16th. I see a lot of the fire departments really doing some work on their facilities and their equipment and putting a lot of time into that. Coming up also on the same day as the fire inspection on the 16th, Lake Telemark is doing the Oktoberfest. It's between 2 and 7 p.m. And I want to make a mention to everybody that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You know, if you know anybody, encourage them to get tested. If anybody has any doubts, get a second opinion. Trust me, it could save your life. I know that for a fact. So if you can help somebody out, donate, wear pink until the end of the month, that would be great. As far as old business, we had, I've asked a couple of times about the Board of Assessment Commissioners. And real quick, Mr. Yachafano, have we had any meetings with any of the Board of Commissioners? Mr. Yachafano? My own attorney's not going to respond. Him being the
Council
attorney.
President, can I be recognized?
You can.
I'm taking my time, Council President.
No. I'm sure he'll give you an extra second.
No.
Mr. Yachafano will give you an update on the Board of Assessment Commissioners in his report. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if that being said, and it's concerning to me because we have an attorney that we're paying good money for. We have a chairman that seems to be very vocal, Mr. Waters, on Facebook and everything else. Their terms expired. So right now we don't have any commissioners because their terms expired. So I would think we would have a resolution on this agenda or the 30th agenda to reappoint commissioners and alternates. And they're expired. So it's just interesting that a month has transpired and nobody's done anything about that. I'm disappointed, Mr. Sackett, because you're the one that appointed these guys 2 years ago, and we're backwards now. No plans, no nothing. $655,000 that's just sitting there not to be collected because of you guys. And you should be ashamed, Mr. Quinn. Also, on old business, 8 of you voted in favor of a resolution R156. And that was auctioning off surplus property that the township owns based on the resolution and the statements by Carl Perrone, who I guess was assisting with this resolution. And it dealt with a car hauler trailer, 2003 cartel car hauler. That's up for auction, that's going to be published in the newspapers. Mrs. Clipperton, you said that it was over at Bunky's Heavy Towing. Where is that vehicle stored right now? It holds 9 cars. It's roughly over 50 feet, weighs 18,000 pounds. Do you know where it is?
Council President.
Yes, Mr. Yachafano.
The conduct of an auction once authorized by the council is the function of the administration. Mr. Kelly has
So,
questions.
Mr.
about the
Yachafano, you
ordinance.
answered the
He
question.
should
Where's
have
the car
about the
hauler
sale.
trailer right
He
now?
should have sent a letter to the administration to put any questions he might have.
Mr. Yachafano, my town attorney, where is the car hauler trailer right now? Mrs. Clipperton said it's at Bunky's Towing.
You need to ask the administration per the
I'm asking the
instructions.
administration.
Send,
Mr. Iacofano,
send
where
me
is
a
the
letter,
car
Mr.
hauler
Kelly.
trailer?
This is Mayor
Is it
Puzio.
at
Send
30
me a
Taft
letter.
Street or is it at 1 Route 46?
Councilman
Council
Kelly,
President,
send me a
this is
letter
a
with your
report.
request.
It
I'm
is
asking you
not the
now.
time to
We have
interrogate members of the council or administration or
$175,120
Just
Send me a
using his
request,
time. He's
Mr.
wasting
Kelly.
his time. That's fine.
Send me
of
a
a value
request,
on
Mr.
that.
Kelly.
Where is it?
Send me a request, what you're
Where
requesting, and
is
I'll
it?
get
I'm
back to
sending
you.
you requests right now. Where's the
Please,
trailer?
Mr. Kelly, send me a request, email me. I'd
Mrs.
be glad to
Clipperton
answer.
prepared
Thank
this
you.
auction and resolution with the attorneys, received information of $175,000, 120 and 90 cents for alleged towing and storage charges, which is impossible for 520 or 72 days. The trailer is not at the location that Mrs. Clipperton said it was, but yet you put everything together for this auction. So I'm going to ask again, where is the car hauler trailer identified in R156 that's valued at $175,000, 120 and 90 cents? All of you
Councilman Kelly,
voted for it. All
Councilman
eight of you
Kelly,
voted for it.
Councilman Kelly, if you know the answer to that, then I guess you won't be sending me an email. Thank
I
you.
don't know the answer for it. That's why I'm asking Mrs. Clipperton and you. You guys voted on the resolution. Mrs. Clipperton was a part of that. She's a vital component to that. And then
For the
following
answer,
that,
please send me an email. I'll be glad
I
to
don't need
answer
to
it.
send you an
Thank you.
email. I'm asking you now. Do you hear me?
Give
Mr. Mayor, do
me an
you hear
email.
what I'm asking you?
Please send me an email with your questions. I'd be
Mr.
glad to
Mayor,
answer them. Thank you.
I'm asking you, where is the car hauler trailer recognized in resolution
Please
R156?
send me an email and then I'll
I
look
just
into it.
asked you. You're on the record.
I
You
don't
wanna
have the
me.
answer to it
Mrs.
right
Clipperton
now.
doesn't wanna
Send me
answer
an email. I
Kinda
don't have
funny.
the answer to that.
The next thing with new business, I just want to touch base because Mr. Laardi had brought up a concerning issue, and in his response, I have to agree with. You know, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Puzio have put this together that, you know, the health department doesn't want us to have in-person meetings, and the mayor then puts together a policy for our employees.
Councilman Kelly, I don't do anything with
You're
the meetings in
interrupting me. You're
terms
not
of
recognized. You're on my
authorizing.
time. I didn't yield to
No,
you.
no, you're on my time right
No,
now.
I'm the one that has the
I
floor
do
of my
not
report.
organize the meetings, so stop.
So we
Mr.
have
Kelly,
this meeting now that we
please
have
stop
advertised for
saying the
WebEx.
wrong things. I
And
don't
what I
run
don't
council
understand
meetings. I'm a
is-
guest.
I'm sorry for
guest,
talking
Mr.
over you
Kelly.
while you're interrupting me. So what I don't understand is we have right now Mr. Sackett and Mr. Freelander right next to each other during this council meeting. I have these individuals at our town hall, Mr. Quinn, Mr. Jackson, Mrs. Noon. We got a bunch of senators back there, assemblymen, some of our own committee members, commissioners, Board of Adjustment members, and one of our own general counsel at a meeting on the 23rd of September at a
Where?
Hit that picture. I'd like to validate that for
At
accuracy.
town hall, Mr. Kelly?
Why is it okay that we have a meeting with
Can you
these
please
individuals?
submit that picture?
You're
I'd like to
elbow
make sure that
elbow,
it's
no
accurate
mask on,
and
Mr.
not
Puzio.
Photoshop.
But yet you're saying that
Please submit that picture.
we can't
I'd
have
like to make
in-person
sure it's not
meetings.
Photoshop.
You're lying.
Planning board meetings in person.
You're lying.
We have Board of Adjustment meetings in
You're
person.
lying.
We have
Submit
other
the
meetings in
picture. I'd
person.
like to
Meeting was
validate
not
it.
in town hall.
Meeting in here and a town-owned property. And
Oh,
it's
that's
right
different.
there, Mr. Puzio. Right there.
Copy of the
All right.
photo. I'd
All
like to
you guys
validate it
sitting
for
there,
accuracy. Thank
right
you.
there.
Crazy, man.
Right? Yeah, Mr. Jackson, right next to your buddy. No
Is it
mask
Photoshop?
in a town building, and you don't want to have in-person meetings, but we can have in-person
Oh,
meetings no matter what. Mr. Brooks, I don't know what you're laughing at. You sent your wife there.
See a
Right?
picture of the photo.
That's how sad you guys are.
Oh my gosh.
Worried
You
about
are
the health of
crazy, man.
everybody. You're just doing it so you have a power control to try
You're
to
out
shut
of your
people
mind.
up, control the public, and control your other colleagues. That's what you're doing, Mr. Jackson and Mr.
Yeah,
Puzio.
oh yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Do as I say, not as I do, right? That's your mentality? What's good
Right.
for the goose
Yeah.
is good for the gander? You're a bunch of
One more
hypocrites.
minute. He got one more minute he's got.
That's what you guys are, a bunch of hypocrites. And the last thing is, Council President, when we deal with some of these titles, I've got copies of titles that the clerk has given to members of the public, just signed. No date of sale, no name of the purchaser, not even the name of the person in the reassignment. And then those titles get curbed. Is there a process when there's a titling and it's giving out to another person on an auction or some sort?
That sounds like an administrative function and
I
you
don't
need to
think
ask
so,
the
because the clerk's the one that
administration.
does it in his possession
Please
and
send
controls the
me,
titles.
Councilman Kelly, please send me what
I
you're
don't think so.
referring
I'm
to.
asking my secretary, the clerk of the council.
Please
Mr.
send me what you're
Clipperton, why do
referring
you
to,
leave
because
the
I
titles
can't speak to
blank
something that I
when
don't
you
have
give
in
it
my
to
hand.
people that
Thank you,
are
Mr.
successful
Kelly.
bidders?
Thank you.
Role
Thank
and
you.
what
Please
you're
send me the
asking
info.
is an administrative function.
Why do you do that, Mrs. Clipperton? You're the clerk to the council that
Please
has
send me,
custody of the titles.
Councilman,
Through the auction
shush
that
for
we
1
approve
second.
as a council member,
Please
why do
send
you sign
me
those titles
the
and leave everything blank?
items that you're speaking of. We can't
You
speak
have
to something
titles that
that's
are
not in
still
our hand.
outstanding that haven't been transferred yet for over 9 months. We don't
Please
even know
send
who
us
has
what you're
them now.
speaking
And
about.
those vehicles that are still
It's an
titled in
administrative
Rockaway
function.
Township.
Please send
All right,
us what
Mr.
you're
Kelly,
speaking
your
about.
time is up.
Clipperton?
Mr. Quinn, you're next.
Lord. All right, old business, I have none. New business, I have none. Dealing with community things, Birchwood Firehouse, yes, I did go there, support them. And the mayor was in the dunk tank and I did dunk them. So my grandkids played and they enjoyed it. So kudos to Birchwood Fire Company. I also, as far as committees go, the planning board, we approved.
In person, Jack?
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order. Mr. Kelly, you're out of order. Stop interrupting people.
Again,
ahead,
Mr. Kelly never served on the planning board, so he wouldn't know what it is.
Go ahead, Mr.
But
Quinn.
as
Just give
far
your report.
Yes,
Just ignore him.
as
He's just a
far
big
as-
mouth. Ignore him.
As far as the planning board goes, we did
Ignore
approve new solar carports for SIBO Meat Products, which is on Green Pond Road. They're looking to have a green footprint so that they can reduce their electrical usage through solar. So we approve that at the planning board level. As far as the Citizens Rec Committee goes, we had a meeting, and that meeting, we discussed how basketball is going to be let into the schools to play basketball as long as they follow the guidelines set by the Board of Ed dealing with the COVID-19. And as also the football program is continuing their program, and the cheerleaders, and they're doing very well, staying within the COVID realm.
All in person.
Dealing with Mr. Kelly, keep your mouth shut for a while so I can finish talking. Also, dealing with recreation, all of the programs are in need of coaches. They are going to hold another Rutgers program. Please, parents, it's a great way to stay interactive with your children. As a coach, I did it for many years on multiple sports, just as many other people have. So please get involved, help the kids. They're in desperate needs. And that is the end of my report at this time.
Go ahead.
And Mr.
Thank you,
Kelly,
Mr. Quinn.
thank
Mr. Critz, you're up. Mr. Kelly, you're out of order again.
Just want to know for
Mr.
the
Kelly,
meeting.
you're out of order.
I just want.
Go ahead, Mr. Critz.
Under old business is, you know what, these are supposed to be civil discussions, you know, around matters that are of importance. And what happened at the last meeting is a really great example of how the message can be misconstrued when things go the way they do normally on these meetings. And I'd like to clear the air with that. So Mr. Sackett asked
racist
that one.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order. Stop it.
See right there.
Stop it, Mr.
Right.
Kelly.
Mr. Critz.
You hate everybody. Go ahead, Mr. Critz.
So when Mr. Sackett, and I apologize for, you know, speaking for Mr. Sackett, but I feel it's
He can't talk for himself.
He can, you know what?
It's unbelievable.
So what I perceive the intention of Mr. Sackett pulling that, and I don't, and he never got the chance to finish saying it because of what happened.
Because he hates the town.
Discussion devolved.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order.
That
I just wish Mr.
Mr. Seth
be honest.
Kelly, be quiet. You're not recognized. You're sick. Get the help you
Just
need.
be honest with
Go ahead, Mr. Kritz.
Stop.
Get the help you need, Mr. Kelly. You're sick. Go ahead, Mr. Kritz.
So the way that it was written, you're not going to find a council member that disagreed with the intent of what the mayor was trying to say. However, what I think Mr. Sackett was trying to say, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's not necessarily, there's no need to politicize it. And it was probably would have been better handled as a mayoral proclamation that every single member of this council would have supported. All right. But initially excuse me, what happened, he was immediately cut off. He was declared a racist, which is absolutely ridiculous. It was said that he hates Italians, which is preposterous. Okay. He absolutely does not.
He hates Italians.
Shame
Stop
on
it,
you
Mr. Kelly.
for pushing that narrative. You want to talk about
It's unbelievable.
Stop.
It's unbelievable.
Never heard, Mr.
It's my turn.
Sick.
It's
Stop.
my turn. You want to talk about stop and hate? You
Unbelievable, Mr.
You stop
Stop hate.
labeling people.
You're gonna make
All right, now it's
Stop
my
it, Mr.
turn.
Kelly.
It's my
Holy
turn.
cow.
You're gonna make it.
Stop it.
Okay, it's not about inciting hate. You know what? You want to support Columbus Day, you don't want to support Columbus Day. Support what you want to support, and if you don't want to,
You can't
celebrate. Okay,
You can't erase it.
we're not erasing history.
Mr. Kritz, ignore him.
It's not even our position. All right, that we are looking to cancel it. We are not. What Mr.
Why'd you vote?
Trying to do.
Kelly, be quiet. Mr. Kritz, ignore him and just do your report,
Why'd
please.
you vote no?
But you know what?
Ignore him.
You know what, Mr. Jackson? Because I want my chance to be heard. We are all quiet when Mr. Kelly is
I know.
spewing his hate.
I know.
I want my 5 minutes.
I know. Well, I can't control what a sick person does, okay? And I'm trying to do my best, but he's sick and he just speaks out and acts like a child.
tired of him.
I'm trying to do my best. You kind of got to ignore him.
I don't think so, buddy.
I don't know what else to say. Like, we try, but I can't control him.
Mr. Kelly, have the decency to let me talk.
He has no decency.
Mr.
I don't interrupt you.
Nobody interrupts you, Mr. Kelly. You're sick. Stop. Stop.
Let Jonathan.
Go ahead, Mr. Kritz.
We are not looking to incite hate, which is exactly what he's doing right now.
No, you go.
Sackett is not racist. He doesn't hate Italians. He doesn't hate anybody. Okay. I am proud to serve with him on this council. I'm proud to call him a friend. And I think that what's being targeted towards him is unfair. He's not looking to cancel Columbus Day. Nobody here is. Okay. I support Columbus Day. Okay. We all
voted no.
Okay. Now, the intent is to recommend a mayoral proclamation, but because of the arguments that devolved seconds after he said it, all right, that was not possible. And in the interest of moving on and not creating more of a circus, that's what we did. Okay. And we all affirmed your proposal tonight. All right. And I think that shows that everybody on this council, all right, thinks the way we do. We are not looking to cancel Columbus Day. Moving on.
We got pressure.
Moving on.
You're weak.
Point of order, Council President. Point of order, Council President. Enough. Enough already from this person. He's an embarrassment to our town. Make a motion to censure Councilman Kelly.
I'll second that motion. He's out of control tonight.
A lot of static there, bud.
I'll second it. He's out
Enough.
of control.
Okay.
I move to
Clerk, you
censure.
can take a roll call on censuring Councilman Kelly.
Enough. Child, you're an embarrassment. January can't come soon enough.
Oh, careful,
Councilmember
Mrs.
Kelly.
Careful.
Councilmember Kelly,
What's that?
voting,
What are we voting on?
censuring you.
Oh, I can't participate in that.
Okay, so he's abstaining, Ms. Clipperton,
Mr. Jackson voted for me.
acting like a child.
Councilmember Quinn.
Hey, if Mr.
Yes.
We wouldn't have this issue.
Councilmember Friedlander.
Yes.
Mr. Chris, what?
Councilmember Kritz.
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Noon.
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses, 1 abstention.
You didn't even.
Motion carries.
Can I continue?
Go ahead, Mr. Kritz. What else do you have?
All right, you know what, just, and it's killing me to say it, and even is
Go ahead.
Columbus is
Ryan.
America, one of the greatest country on the face of the earth, and one of the things that this country is built on is the freedom of speech and the ability to
But
speak.
you're not allowing me.
And the fear of being able to speak your mind, and more importantly, is being able to let others express their opinion. All right? Do you
You're not
hate America,
You're being
Mr. Kelly? Do you hate me?
You're being
Do you hate
dishonest.
everything that we stand for? Be quiet.
You are
Quiet.
Mr. Kritz, you're
All right. Moving on. We're done with that.
flip to
As as far as the senior citizen committee is concerned, the cookout obviously was a success. Nothing else to report there. Nothing to report on the local planning council committee. I am looking forward to the fire department inspection. This will be the first one I'm able to attend. I am looking forward to it. Movie night postponed till Sunday, the 17th. I'm really looking forward to that. I want to give kudos to the mayor working with the Board of Ed to put that on. What a great event at our new center of town, Peterson. Wednesday, the 20th, Copeland is putting on a fall concert. It is going to be at Peterson. So we were at a meeting at Copeland. They were looking to hold something outside. So we would not have to, so we could socially distance a little bit better. The town was very gracious in coordinating the use of Peterson. It is going to be a very good event. Wednesday night, the 20th, I invite everybody to come join for a night of music, the chorus and the band from Copeland. And then the other piece I have is just, again, I need to give kudos out to Mr. Swanton and the entire, his entire department. The condition at Peterson this year has been just fantastic. I mean, in years past, you know, the lawn starts coming apart, you know, this time of the year. It's just the amount of attention that they're paying, and then the condition of the field is better than I've ever seen it. You could tell that these guys and, you know, the entire administration put a lot of pride into Peterson. And I'm really happy the improvements that are going on there. And I just wanted to say thank you. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Friedlander.
Good evening, people. I'm going to give a couple committee reports. First, the library. Just want to tell you that the children's room renovation is I would say 99.9 complete. They just have to retrofit the shelves, and they're going to have a grand opening at the end of October. You got to see this new children's room. Another thing, Hibernia, as I reported last month, was opening. Successful. Everybody likes the interior. They're adding more items to it, and it's already exceeded the numbers of people using it. So we're going in the right direction with the Hibernia branch. That's the library. As far as the Historical Society, they had a function on October 4th, slide presentation about Pat White's collection, and she was a teacher in Stony Brook back in the 70s, and amazing pictures. Then November 1st, there's going to be, if you check on the website, they're having a guest speaker about the Pilgrims and the Mayflower. And as far as the Ford Face House, there's going to be an open house, November 13th, from 11 to 2. Okay, and then the bids were delayed. The first round, there were no bids. If you know, at this time, because of COVID and lumber prices going up, nobody really wanted to bid on it, but they're going out to bids again in November for the money that we got from the grant from the county. Okay, that is the Historical Society. Next, I'd like to say we finally had the Substance Abuse Alliance meeting. And this is like, it's been a couple of years because of COVID, obviously. And there's phase 4. There's 4 phases, but they may have to change a little bit because of the situation right now. But as of June 2nd, that's the last phase, and that was Celebrity Day, where people from all walks of life, sports people, people from radio come and help us promote the Substance Abuse Alliance. It's a great program, and Mike, kudos to Les Wexler and the rest of the board. Okay, that's 3. 4, if you just want a brief rundown on the Board of Assessment, I'll tell you one thing. Over the last several months, Allison and Chrissy been working. I tell you, kudos to them for getting the accurate. We had to do accurate maps and property lists to be up to date, and this takes time. Okay, now the next process is we have to get an appraiser, which if administration would like to add to it, we have to get an appraiser to update on the properties that are connected and will be connected. And then you're talking about a meeting probably, if this goes as projected, you're talking maybe end of November, December.
Mr. Have an appraiser.
Mr. Kelly, you're not
trying to
recognized.
help
This isn't
Andy.
your time to ask questions. Mr. Friedlander's doing his report. Please be quiet. You're not recognized.
In 170.
You're not recognized, Mr. Kelly. You're out of order. Mr. Friedlander, please finish your report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say one thing. That's the 4 reports. I missed. I'm sorry for getting on the council meeting late. I was having trouble with WebEx in my house, so I had to move to a different area. But when you made mention of a moment of silence, I know you brought up a person, a businessman in town, Pasquale Camagnola, who is the original, who happens to be the original owner of Anthony's Pizzeria. I just want to bring up his name again because I had a special relationship with him and the family when I moved to Rockaway. And when I found out he had passed, it was just devastating. I mean, it's been a rough year, and his passing just added to it. I just want to, on a light note, remembering this type of person. Years ago, I had a couple friends, and we were celebrating my birthday, and we happened to be in Anthony's for it, and they forgot a birthday cake. Well, he came out. He knew I'm addicted to anchovies, and he came out with a pizza with "Happy Birthday, Manny" and anchovies on it. And I can't forget that. And I tell the story to everybody. It's just something from years past that you never forget. And that's the type of person he was. And the family, just with what they do for the town and organizations, he'll be dearly missed. And I just wanted to add to that, moment of silence.
Thanks, Mr. Friedlander.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Vice President Sackett.
Council President, I have a motion. I have a quick motion.
Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
My motion is to rescind Resolution R21-156.
Anyone want to second that?
And that's just so they know that resolution is for.
Okay, nobody seconded it.
They don't
Please
know what
move
it's
on.
for, Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Sackett, please,
That is
Vice President
for,
Sackett, please give your
Thank you.
report.
That motion is car holder trailer.
Thank you, Council President. Let me give my report here. Just so everyone aware that's listening.
Let the Italian hater talk.
We got Mr. Kelly. Mr.
You're
Kelly,
out of order.
Mr. Kelly, 116 Oprah requests since he's been on council. 116.
I'm gonna tell you.
He's also got, so you know,
You're gonna tell
year to date Oprah fees that
You're
he
full.
cost us $13,971.
You're a weak.
So besides his 116
You're
Oprah
a-
requests,
Mr. Kelly.
$13,971 he has wasted of our taxpayers' money. So just want to let everyone listening at home, this guy, 116 over the past 4 years, and this year alone, $13,971.
Fold it again.
Let me go back to my report.
You got the pressure.
Go to your report. Be quiet, Mr. Kelly. You're not recognized. You had your chance, Mr. Kelly.
Out of order as usual.
Mr. Sackett.
Let's go.
Go ahead, Mr. Sackett. Give your report. Please ignore him.
Recreation Committee was meeting last Tuesday, October 5th. Just kind of reviewing what was going on. A lot of different sports in towns, and just like Councilman Quinn had said, a lot of shortages on coaches, a lot of shortages also. I've been seeing a lot with referees as well. So that's one of the big things going on. The Vehicle Review Committee, haven't had a meeting, so no meeting to report on. Park and Recreation Committee, the Peterson 1 and 2 bid is due back in a few days. So I believe October 19th, that should be back. Also, like Councilman Kritz had said, the rescheduled movie night this Sunday, 7 o'clock. I heard Mayor Puzio will be bringing popcorn for everybody. So looking forward to that. I like Mr. Mayor Puzio. I like kettle corn. So hopefully you can come through with some of that.
For you.
And then the Fall Music Fest that Mr. Kritz had said also, Wednesday, October 20th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Peterson Field. Looking forward to that. That's going to be a great night. Looking forward to that. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have another motion.
I'll make my report brief. I really have nothing to report other than,
Council President.
Everybody is witnessing somebody spiraling out of control that's lost everything, and he's slowing down township business. He's making up lies. He's being childish. He's interrupting everybody, and it's hard to be professional and run a meeting when you have somebody that's lost everything and they're completely out of control.
I have a motion, Council
President. It's difficult. So
I have a motion.
With that said, Mr. Mayor, I go to your report.
I have a motion, Council President.
Go ahead. What's your motion, Mr. Kelly?
Thank you. Since the mayor and the clerk will not answer the question about the car hauler trailer location missing
I
out.
will answer it. I told you.
Mr. Kelly, are you going to make a motion? Make your motion.
Councilman, I will answer it. Send me an email, please, for the record. I will answer it. Send me an email.
To create an investigatory committee.
I'm listening.
To do an investigation of the location and whereabouts of the car hauler trailer as of 2003.
Does anybody want to second that motion? No? Okay, Mr. Mayor, go ahead. Mr. Mayor, go ahead. Please do your report.
Thank you, Council President. Please, if Mr. Kelly speaks out and keeps interrupting me, I'm going to stop. But please, try to do your best to control him. First of all, I want to say that, as I said at the last meeting, I'm proud to work with this council. Most of you, I'm proud to work with, and you know who you are. We've got. Can I continue, Council President?
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. We have done a tremendous job together. We've really moved the town forward in ways that the public sees, and in many ways that the public does not see on a day-to-day basis in terms of infrastructure, things that they don't pay attention. And it is only possible because we work together. And I do appreciate everybody's opinions and different takes on different situations. It really has been a joy. For the record, Council Vice President Sackett is not a racist. He does not hate Italians.
He hates Italians.
We spoke about this after the meeting. He does not hate Italians. That's the most ludicrous thing. That's the most ludicrous thing, and that's coming from anyone who would say that is really a political terrorist. That's the way I would have to label that person. With that said, I want to get into some of the important things, but I want to get some of the questions that were asked of me at the last meeting. Councilman Tucker Kelly asked me a question at the meeting, at last meeting. He directed it towards Chief McParland, and then he directed it towards me. I didn't answer the question because I didn't have time. Once again, it was almost like trying to do a sucker punch on someone.
Oh, come now.
He's good. He's good. He's good at that.
Kelly, be quiet.
Stop.
That's his trademark, is to try to sucker punch each and every one of them. Can I speak? That's his trademark.
Try, but
all right,
you're dealing with somebody who's out of control.
Try to sucker punch us at meetings. So
And then
before,
you got
the
the
reason
motive.
the reason I didn't answer that
You
question,
got
or Chief McParland didn't answer that question at the last meeting, was because I wanted to speak to him prior. I generally don't run around with my hair on fire and answer questions off the cuff unless I have good information. So with that said, I spoke to the chief. He has no idea what Mr. Kelly was talking about us taking over or doing a shared services agreement
He
with
called
Pine Hill or Wharton. I certainly have no idea what he was talking about. So with that said, we
Ask
both,
the
both
PDF.
the chief and myself have no idea. Rockaway Township is in no negotiations with any police department in any way, shape, or form where we are going to do a shared services. Rockaway Township has its own police force, and their police force is remaining as such as they have been since the town was formed. Okay, now on to more important things. Movie night. Pray
How
that
about
we
the
don't
trailer?
have we don't have rain on Sunday night. With movie night, we had to cancel it and do the rain date. I want to thank the council and the Board of Ed for being behind this and partnering with me. I came up with the idea, but these guys backed it. And, our council comes up with a lot of great ideas that I back as well. So it's definitely a collaborative relationship. I want to thank Howard Kritz for his involvement in football. He's going to have we talk about popcorn. Council Vice President Sackett talks about popcorn. We're going to have the concession stand open for snacks and such. So people who come to the movie will be able to enjoy themselves and have a little something to eat. I want to respond to Mr. Alardi in terms of some issues, and I'll let Allison go into that a little more, my town engineer. We are doing traffic studies throughout town and different portions of town to try to make things safer, to make things better. It's a process. I'll let Allison speak about that briefly. So we are looking into that. We are looking into Lake Telmark, which started last year. We've been working with the head of that association, Ms. Robolato. We are also working with the Board of Ed, as Howard had said, for October 20th. It's to bring some more events to Rockaway at Peterson Field. Let me see what else. I want to thank Jack and the others who came to the dunk tank at Birchwood and plunged me into that cold water. And Adam, I think Adam took a couple extra pushes on the button. He didn't even throw the ball a few times. So thank you, Adam. I'm still throwing out on that one. And I want to leave you with this. This is, I've been involved in the town since 2001. I was on the Board of Ed for 12 years, served on the council. Now I'm serving as mayor. I served on the planning board. So I've held a lot of different roles in town, and I've enjoyed each and every one of them. I want to leave you with this. You'll never be criticized by someone who is doing more than you. You'll only be criticized by someone. You will only be criticized by someone who is doing less. So just keep those words for some of the people who are new to the council. Keep those words in your head. You will never be criticized by someone who is doing more than you. You'll only be criticized by someone who is doing less. And those words stick in my head and they ring true to today. So I want to thank you for your service. I want to congratulate you on all the hard work that you've done over the year. I'm looking forward to January. It can't come soon enough. And, thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Mr. Gachifano?
Thank you, Council President. The mayor asked me to give a brief report on the Bolbyville sewer matter. The statements made by Councilman Freelander are accurate. We have had Chrissy and Allison working tirelessly to correct the maps and property lists that were originally prepared by Mark Burek, which unfortunately were in error, as I reported to the council recently. That has been an unbelievably difficult task. It is now complete. I then contact Mr. Eisenberg, who was the original appraiser on the project. It is obviously necessary to do a reappraisal against the old appraisal and against the new property lists and maps. He is starting to work on that. We are anticipating being able to go forward sometime in late November or December. Again, this is all very tentative. It seems that every time we turn the page in this matter, it's a minefield, but we are moving forward and we will get the matter done. The mayor asked me to provide the council with a report tonight on two matters of litigation initiated by Mr. Kelly. They are respectively the lawsuits against yourself, Council President Jackson, and against the mayor. The lawsuit against Council President Jackson has been partially determined by summary applications long before the presentation of any discovery or any evidence. The most significant aspect of the determination of that lawsuit was that all claims against you individually as Joseph Jackson, as opposed to Joseph Jackson, Council President, those claims against you individually have been dismissed. The court finding that there is absolutely no basis in law or in fact for imposing individual liability on you for actions with respect to the council. Interestingly, the suits against yourself and Mayor Puzio have been assigned to separate judges. The suit against you, Mr. Jackson, is being handled by Judge Minkowitz, and the suit against the mayor is now pending before Judge DeAngelis. And somewhat surprisingly, we've had opinions from both of them on virtually identical issues, since the lawsuits were effectively mirror images of each other that are slightly divergent but not significant. In the lawsuit against you, count one alleges OPMA, that's Open Public Meeting Act violations, based upon the alleged introduction of the censure resolution without some form of special notice to Mr. Kelly. The court has already found that Mr. Kelly has no right or had no right to separate notice since he is not classified as an employee under the law. But that action, that's the first count of the suit against you, that will go forward and will eventually be the subject of another motion to dismiss. The second count was Mr. Kelly's claimed right to speak at public meetings. That count was dismissed. The third count claims a violation of civil rights deriving out of the same right to speak at public meetings. In that case, Judge Minkowitz dismissed the original complaint, but gave Mr. Kelly the ability to file an amended complaint in the hope that he could set forth facts and law sufficient to justify a cause of action. So further determination on that count is forthcoming. The fourth count was the Rice notice violation. Mr. Kelly's claiming that he was entitled to a Rice notice prior to the council's action on the censure resolution several months ago. The court has found that that claim is totally without merit and that Mr. Kelly was not entitled to a Rice notice, and that dismissal is final. The fifth count was for indemnification. Basically, Mr. Kelly, in suing yourself and Mayor Puzio, and these counts are common with both lawsuits, he wanted the township to pay for his legal fees. That count is permanently dismissed. Now, it's interesting that although the court gave Mr. Kelly the ability to file an amended complaint to support his previously dismissed counts as to counts 2, 3, and 4, which were the public speaking, the violation of civil rights, and the Rice notification, Mr. Kelly has abandoned his claims on count 2 and 4 and has only filed an amended complaint as to count 3. So the matter is really proceeding at this point as a simple declaratory judgment action, but because of the survival of his civil rights claims until the next motion to dismiss is filed, that action is being handled by Eric Harrison of Nets, Vessel, and Wervel, pursuant to the township's policies of insurance, which, as I'm sure you know, is not without cost, since the town bears a contributory responsibility there. Interestingly, even though that was Judge Minkowitz's opinion, he did make some comments apropos to some of the statements that have been made tonight. For example, he specifically recognized your ability as council president to announce rules to govern the conduct of council meetings. And he recognized your exclusive authority as council president to do that. So that is the status of your case. I've spoken with Mr. Harrison about it. He's confident of the ultimate resolution of the case in favor of yourself and the township. But unfortunately, the matter will go on. And given current backlogs in the court, if this case ever comes to trial, which is unlikely, because as I noted earlier, it will probably be the subject of a valid motion to dismiss after discovery. Trial date of 2024 is not unrealistic. Now we come to the case against the mayor. That case, which is being handled currently by Judge DeAngelis, is virtually all gone, and virtually every count alleged by Mr. Kelly has been dismissed by the court, with the exception of a small declaratory judgment count alleging the violation of the civil rights, which, because of the nature of the allegations made, cannot even result in a damages verdict. So the first count of that lawsuit alleged a violation of the New Jersey Civil Rights Act. The second count was a declaratory judgment that the New Jersey Civil Rights Act had been violated. And the third count was an indemnification account whereby Mr. Kelly, as in the Jackson lawsuit, was asking the town to pay his fees for suing them. So the only surviving count there is a declaratory judgment count. He has no claim under the Federal Civil Rights Act, and the retaliation claim has failed. As have the claims that that Mr. Kelly had was subject to a policy, pattern, or practice of the violation of civil rights. That claim was also rejected by the court. Unfortunately, because the Puzio case no longer contains, as a result of the court's action, any claim for damages, we are no longer entitled to coverage. Okay, well, we're no longer entitled to the insurance company being responsible for the case and paying its fees. So the township has been required to retain the services of Mr. Harrison's firm, Metz, Fessel, and Werble, to continue with the action that they started. And that will result in more cost to the township than the taxpayers over the course of that case, until it too hopefully is dismissed. So that is my report on both of those cases. And the mayor asked that I provide you with it, so at least you would know their current status. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
And Mr. Yachafano?
Thank you. Mr.
Can you
Kelly,
give
be
us a
quiet.
report
You're
on
not
the-
recognized. Be quiet. Ms. Seeger, did you have anything you wanted to report, Ms. Seeger?
Mr. Yachafano?
Ms. Seeger?
Not at this time, sir.
Okay. Ms. Palmieri, did you have anything you wanted to report?
Yes, I just wanted to report that I will be working with our auditor, Ray Sarnelli, over the next few weeks regarding our note sale. The purpose of the note sale is to fund general capital and water capital projects that the council has approved through bond ordinances over the past few years. And after the sale is complete and I receive an interest rate, I will be reporting the results of the sale to the council and the mayor, and I expect this to take place sometime in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ferrante?
Yes, I did want to make a comment on the traffic reports. We have conducted a number of them, and it is a process. So we coordinate, engineering coordinates with DPW and the police. We gather data from the police, and I'm happy to say we've done a number of them, several intersections in the White Meadow Lake area, and now we're looking at some areas in the Telemark area. It is a process, and Mr. Alardi, if it's okay with administration, I will follow up with you afterwards. I am aware of some of those intersections that you had mentioned, and hopefully we can address them for you. No other reports.
Okay, Mr. Yachafano, do you have anything you wanted to add, or?
Yes, I did, very quickly. I unintentionally omitted thanks to Lisa Palmieri when I discussed the Bolbyville matter. One of the most critical things was to find what's known as a certification of costs, which is the linchpin on which an appraiser must base any appraisal. Now, since we're going back to 1995, when Mr. Eisenberg told me that he required that, I was a little bit apprehensive considering the problems we faced in this matter. Wouldn't you know that Lisa was able to come up with it to everyone's relief? So a special thank you to Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson, can I be
Can we have a
recognized?
motion to adjourn? Motion to
Mr.
adjourn.
Jackson, a
Mr.
motion.
Fritz and
Mr.
Mr.
Jackson.
Brooks.
I'll second.
Mr. Jackson, a motion.
Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
Shouldn't we appoint the Board of Commissioners? I mean, we don't have any assessment commissioners.
Is that your motion, Mr. Kelly?
I'm asking you, Mr. Yachafano.
No, nobody seconded. So Mr.
got
Fritz,
no
Mr. Brooks
commissioners.
made motions to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, no
Meeting's
commissioners.
adjourned. Thank you.